that it was terrible. But yeah, that's the number that I've seen a little bit and heard from Mr. Jerome Corsi and stuff like that. And the Q has stated in the Q posts on a few occasions talking about this week holding the potential for the Moab, the mother of all bombs. But I actually kind of wonder if he's talking more about bombs, the Moabs in the technical sense, or whether or not it's more like the mother of all booms, as Q is very, very well known for the boom exclamations that have popped up in proximity time-wise to important events. That is like, this'll lift your skirt up. But so I wonder if that's what the Moab for this week is looking at, is the mother of all booms. And if that's the case, I can certainly, I can certainly let my mind wander about what that may mean. But I think that's, the whole point that I do this silly little show is just because I think that people need to ask questions. I mean, that's the main thing. People need to actively seek out what is really beneath the surface on what they're being told and what they're seeing. So I would hope that if anything does interest you, whether it be Nxivm, IVM, or IVM, and look into the DOS subgroup of Nxivm. Allison Mack. I think everybody knows what the Moab is, at least in the technical sense, that the Moab is the mother of all bombs. Whether it's the mother of all booms, I don't know. I actually kind of hope that's it, because I'm personally, I'm exhausted with the idea of the United States, or any country for that matter, devastating the earth and masses of the people for whatever reason. Excuse me. And so I hope that is not the case. I mean, there's been, like I said, I do believe that there's more to the Syria deal than what we know, and I won't second guess those who know far more than I do in this. But at the same time, I really do hope that we can get to some point of peace in the world. At least not maybe not peace, because I think peace in the world is that's some Armageddon shit. That is the apocalypse. There are too many ideologies that are too zealous and too hateful. And I'll say that about any ideology. If you have hate for gays, or for Jews, or for white people, or for whatever the case may be, well, you're kind of a prick. You're a bit of a douchebag. Maybe you shouldn't talk. I mean, honestly, I think that at that point, and maybe when you do talk, maybe it's funny. I mean, I don't know, because I'll tell you what, if North Korea and South Korea can meet if Kim Jong-un can meet with the leader of South Korea and claim to be willing to abandon their nuclear program, then I guess it's possible, to have peace anywhere in this world, between anyone. But if we can get to a point where we're able to rationally discuss our differences like adults, that would be a damn fine thing for the world in general. Because I do not believe that dropping bombs anywhere is a terribly good idea. Now, I'm not a pacifist necessarily. I'm just kind of anti-devastation. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't benefit anyone. The only ones that war benefits are those who are profiting from it. So that is a much smaller percentage of the population than I think it should require benefit going to for us to go to war, or for us to have any type of conflict where we're shooting tens, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars worth of explosives and killing, faceless, nameless people, many of whom are innocent and just happen to be within the area of the blast, which apparently this Syria stuff did not do, and for that I'm very, very thankful. Because honestly, there's enough of the world that hates the United States as it is, and we haven't always had leaders who have had the best interest of the nation at heart. And we certainly haven't always had leaders who have been honest about what the goals were for the various conflicts around the world that have been fought in the name of defending or promoting democracy. So I do hope that is not the case here. I'm going to believe until I have proof otherwise that is not the case. I choose to have faith in this president because he's done a lot of good things. If you hate Donald Trump, turn CNN right the fuck off. Just turn it off for a little bit. Look around on the internet. Seek news that is not directly entangled with the Democratic Party. And yes, Fox News is entangled with the Republican Party. There's really no question there. That's why I didn't say go to Fox News. But definitely, even if you are a diehard Democrat or a diehard Republican, this is gonna be a little bit tough for some people to hear, but I'm gonna say it because it's true. Whether you're a diehard, flag-waving party affiliate or not, when you speak about subjects that you only have the portion of the story that supports your side, and you're in a discussion with someone who seeks objectively the truth of the story from both sides, looking for some objective source to find information that will not be handed to you on a silver platter by those who want to do nothing more than to affect the way that you vote, you sound like an idiot. You just sound uninformed. I will say that I know and I love some people. I have some people very dear to me that still believe that there was Russian Trump collusion. And it's like, oh, really? Well, really then. Okay. If you still believe this, which is fine, that is what this country is all about. The freedom to be dumb. The freedom to be uninformed. The freedom to think whichever way you want to think. The freedom to associate with only those who have your own viewpoints. They're objectively not great freedoms to have. They don't benefit you necessarily. But rights exist. Protections exist to protect the unpopular positions. You don't need protections in place for things to protect the overwhelmingly prevalent positions on things. They weren't necessary in the Constitution. If this nation were 99.99% Christian, which it never has been that predominantly Christian, but it used to be a lot more. But if it were that overwhelmingly Christian in ideology, then freedom of religion would not be needed to apply to Christians. Now we live in a very different world from the time that the Constitution was first written, from the founding of this great nation of ours. We live in a very, very different time, where Christianity, having been the prevalent and dominant faith in the nation for so long, and having also admittedly, and I am a Christian, I'll be the first to say that, I am, however, open to talking about any viewpoints, and, you know, I've circled in my life away from Christianity through a lot of research and looking into different things, back to Christianity with a newfound view on it. And here's the view that I have, just to explain, because people hear that someone is Christian and automatically they get a certain impression. This is what I believe. I believe that Jesus lived, whether it was a perfect life or not, that's not even the point. I believe Jesus lived a life more worthy of reverence than anyone ever recorded in history. And I know that there's an argument in certain areas about whether Jesus ever even existed. And I'm going to tell you, and I said this recently, but I'm going to tell you one more time. Even if he didn't, I don't care. That's what Christianity means to me. To me, Christianity means, quite simply, hey, see what this guy did? See how he loved everyone, and he treated everyone with love, respect, kindness, and he gave of himself unselfishly. And he gave his life for his people and for the world at large. Yeah, you should try to emulate that as best you can. No. I know. Nobody expects you to die on a cross, Paul. No, that's good, because I don't really want to, even though, you know, it's possible it wasn't a cross at all. It might have just been a pike. I mean, you never know about these things. There's so many things that have been questioned throughout history, and the whole point is I'm very interested in the answers because I like to ask questions, and I